everyone. My name is Nicole Snow, and this is our very first edition of Wind Down Wednesday here at Darn Good Yarn. I've probably had Wind Down Thursdays and Fridays here on video many times, so anyone who has followed along knows I like my wine. But today, this is not about me. This is actually about the guests on our show that we're starting. And I hope Daniella, I have Daniella Hua.
Hi, guys.
Because you say your last name like a karate chop.
Yes, it is. I tell people you say my last name like a karate sound effect. It's Hua.
I love it.
You're like kick somebody. Go Hua.
I love it. I just started boxing a couple months ago, so I'm gonna take that into my practice now. It's gonna be
yeah.
But so the whole idea of this show, right, is I had my daughter 2 years ago, and I've been running Darn Good Yarn as well. I used to love to do videos and meet people and meet like my customers and my designers, and then this little redheaded munchkin comes along, and I'm like, I don't have time for anything. And then we started working with more designers here as the business grew. And I'm realizing that our designers who are making like our cool crochet and knit patterns, like they have babies as well. So I'm like, how are we all doing this and keeping our heads on straight and able to I don't know, just keep life going, keep our business going. So that's really what this show is all about, is to unpack what other entrepreneur mamas are doing to keep their creative juices flowing, how they're taking care of themselves, and then how they're taking care of their businesses. And of course, we're going to drink a little bit while we do this. Daniella, you have
beer. Cheers.
I have my Chardonnay because it's hot as hell, so cheers.
I know. And this office is the hottest room in the house, and I have to have the fan going, and it's hot, especially when you're breastfeeding. Girl, I'm hot all the time.
Are you breastfeeding too?
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to be nursing forever. I'm on year 2 of this.
Well, I nursed my first daughter for 2.5 years. I tried to stop after like 1.5 years, but my problem was I was one of the lucky mamas that actually overproduced. So I'm like having all this milk, and I try to cut down, and it wasn't going anywhere, and she wanted it, and my husband's like, well, it's not hurting her. So yep, I breastfed 2.5 years.
I love hearing that, because that's one of the really amazing things about being, I think, not a stay-at-home mom, but someone who's like juggling their own destiny. I've met so many moms that have to juggle like going into a corporate environment and not having a ton of support breastfeeding, and like being able to work. Like, I can't tell you how many conference calls I've been on, and like Carrie and I joke about, she works here. Like, I wonder how many of the guys that we talk to know that I've had a kid hooked up to my boob this whole time.
I am. And a lot of people, if you guys follow me on Instagram, a lot of the times you'll see me doing something with my child right here on my lap, or nursing her, or I have to take breaks because she wants to eat, and you kind of have to juggle it, and because baby, in my house, baby always comes first. So if she's hungry, even if I'm like in the middle of a breakthrough on a project, she needs to, need to put it aside. Baby's hungry, sit there, calm her down, or, now she's in the age where she's getting into everything. So I can't not look at her for 5 minutes because she's getting into something else. So it's definitely something you have to learn to juggle with.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. I'm going to just show you guys. Everyone in my office right now help me set up this beautiful set behind me. I'm going to move the camera right now so you can see. I actually have my daughter's toys like right over there. So she comes in pretty frequently. Actually, people on Instagram too, you can see all my daughter's toys. We're streaming live on Insta as well. So we've been talking a lot about breastfeeding, but I want to talk a little bit about your business. So tell me your handles, tell me like everything that you're doing, and then we'll talk about how it relates into Darn Good Yarn. And the other thing too, everyone who's tuned in live right now, in like maybe like 10-15 minutes, we're going to try keeping the show at around 10-15 minutes. At the end of the show, we're going to actually do a live giveaway right now for one of Daniella's pattern kits that she put together for us. So what you just need to do is comment if you knit or crochet, and each kit is it's a clutch, like a purse, and all I need to know is if you knit or crochet and what favorite outfit you would pair this with if you won, because we just want to, we'll make this kind of fun. So comment now, we'll pick a winner at the end. Carrie will help me find that, right? And then for everyone else who's going to tune in afterwards, because I get, some of us have jobs and all that, you can't tune in live to drink wine with us. That's totally cool. We're going to pick someone in a week as well, and you just have to comment in with the same thing, and so it'll be 2 giveaways. So it'll be another giveaway for one of your clutch kits as well. All right, so Danielle, take it away. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your business, how it got started.
Okay, so I'm 25 years old, and when I was really young, I have this memory of my grandmother, my grandmother Isabel. She used to take care of me while my parents were at work, and if you guys think that I'm any good at crochet, she is amazing, the stuff she's done. Well, she used to sit and make these really large, intricate type doilies, and I used to be amazed by it. And so one day she said, well, do you want to try? And I said, yeah, of course I want to try, because I would just sit her and watch her for hours. And she gave me a hook, and she gave me some string, some lace, and she taught me just how to do chains. And I would literally chain my heart away, and I would make these really, really, really long chains. I mean, I don't know what I would use them for, but I knew that I just made chains, and to me that was enough. And I was doing
a scarf.
Yeah, but it was just like a really long, thin lace chain, and she would just let me use as much as her little silk lace, as much as I wanted, just because she wanted me to spend time with her. And so then after I had my first daughter, I have those memories, and crochet piqued my interest, and I'm like, well, I'm determined to make more things than just long chains of lace. And so I taught myself. YouTube is a great tool for any non-crocheters or any non-knitters out there. YouTube is the way to go. I YouTube everything. And
you know, it's funny, people don't realize when I started Darn Good Yarn, I can totally relate to that, because I really didn't know how to knit when I started Darn Good Yarn. And my mother-in-law taught me a little bit, but it was YouTube. It was like, thank God for the internet. I wouldn't have a company.
Yes, it's an amazing tool. So I taught myself the basics, and I started making lots of stuffed animals for my daughter, and then I kind of got a little confident, and I was like, oh, I can do this. And so I started making knitwear, and then for me, obviously, was to learn to knit. For some reason, I found knitting a lot harder, or a little bit more intimidating. I don't know why. When I've had people who do both, they're like, crochet is a lot more harder than knitting, because knitting is pretty much a 1-2 step,
Yeah.
And it's repetitive. So then I picked up some knitting needles, and I taught myself to knit, and now I'm here.
That's awesome. And so you're selling, where are you selling right now? And sort of talk to me, because I think your USPS is pulling in. That's the beeping you're hearing, everyone. They like to honk their horn like crazy when they pull into Darn Good Yarn. But we'll have a lot of, since we're not on a formal set here, we're going to have a lot of interactions with our environment. But talk to me a little bit about this, because I think this is really important for anyone who's thinking about starting their own business. And I've seen a lot of designers come and go, but you have it going on because you kind of have multiple income streams going on. So talk to me a little bit about what you're doing and how and why you set that up that way.
Well, right now I'm selling just through Etsy. I am later on this year, I'm hoping to have my own domain, have my own website.
Yep.
But right now I specifically focus on Etsy. I know there's a lot of great media outlets. I know there's Twitter, I know there's Instagram, and Facebook is a great media outlet. For me specifically, because I am a mom, I can't have all these handlers. It's just too much.
It's too much, yeah.
Because I don't got time for it. I have kids, and especially now that the school year started, my first grader, she's bringing home homework. She needs me to sit down. I need to make dinner. My husband wants to spend time together. So for me, I had to choose. I did have a Facebook, but I never used it. So in my head, it made sense to just deactivate it and focus strictly on Instagram.
But I would argue too that us even working together at Darn Good Yarn and doing patterns with us is another form of an income stream too.
Yes, it is. So after doing that for a while, I got a great message from Alba, who connected with me through Instagram, and we emailed back and forth, and we kind of decided on a project or a pattern that I would do for you guys, and I was really excited. And I actually have the first project that I did for you guys here, and this one, there's a funny story behind it, because while I wanted to work with the ivory colored sari, it wasn't available at the time. So my husband, who's always my biggest supporter, he said, you need to step out of your comfort zone. I like a lot of neutral, muted colors, and my husband's like, no. He goes, this spring, it's not winter, you need colorful in your wardrobe. And I said, okay, so we opt for this beautiful seafoam sari colored, and that's how I don't know if you guys can see, but how the first sari clutch came to be. And I actually do wear this a lot.
You know what I loved about this? I have to tell you. So, you know, I've done a lot of knitting for the business, and I didn't like, a lot of it hasn't made it. Like, it hasn't made it past my like design area, and then it just sort of lives there and goes to die. But the one thing I love is that you use chain. And I made a shawl back in the day, and I was kind of like too embarrassed to bring it out into the world. I'm like, oh, people are gonna think this is stupid. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, I should have presented it to the world. It was this shawl. It was this capelet. Hardware store, and I got 3 like short little things of chain, and instead of having it open like in the front, I had it like, it was asymmetrical. It was made out of sari ribbon, and then I just had 3 pieces of chain as the closure. So it's a sort of like prissy pink color. And you have this hardcore. Like,
why didn't this design make it out into the wild?
You know, this is the funny thing. Like, and I think like, man, like, I wonder how much like self-editing we do sometimes, even as women, that you're like, I shouldn't do that. And then it takes someone else to take the lead. And I was like, because I'm telling you, as soon as I saw that clutch, I was like, shit. I'm like, I should have done that.
Yeah. And you know that I struggle. I think a lot of mothers and makers struggle with that. It's that self-doubt. They're like, oh, is this good enough? I like it, but are other people going to like it?
Yeah.
It needs to be perfect, when in reality, nothing is really as perfect as you think it's going to be. And you kind of just have to jump in the water 2 feet in, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so I have a question from Rebecca right now, and she asked, what age should I start teaching my daughter to either knit or crochet, or really, I guess, I'm going to add on to this, any fiber art craft.
Okay, that's a good one, because my 6-year-old, she's going to be 7 in December. She actually just started taking interest in it. Like, I kind of taught her the chains, you know, how I started, but she's like, I want to make a blanket. How do I make a blanket with just this? So then it's a little bit more difficult for her.
Okay.
What I recommend doing is, Joanne's just came out with this self-knitting yarn. It's this Bernat blanket type thing, and you can kind of do it with your fingers. And she's been doing that, and it kind of keeps her occupied. So it kind of gives me a little bit of work time. So that I would recommend. That's cool.
You know, I have like, she's almost 2. She's 2 in like 2 weeks. But we started to just work with like some felt balls. I'm getting questions handed to me. We actually went out this weekend, and we collected a whole bunch of acorn toppers, and then we just took pom-poms and like I glued them in. I didn't let her glue. I just used some like crazy glue and stuck them in, just to sort to get her to feel like the textures. But I could see just even getting a basic weaving board, like hardware, like take an Amazon box.
I think that's probably on, because she's really crafty. She likes to do stuff next to I do, whether it's beads or whatever, you know. So I also thought maybe loom, like a loom, because it's just easier for her to do. Maybe for Christmas or for her birthday, that's something she would be interested in.
Yeah. So Rebecca, I mean, I think that really the age where if they're into and they have the motor skill to hold yarn and understand like how to move it, start them as early as possible on that, because it's a great motor skill development. But like a basic little, like, you can get a wooden loom, or you can Google DIY, and you can make a little weaving board, and then like kids will learn how to deal and manipulate with different types of fabric and fiber. That's, I think, one of the most difficult parts of working. Like, I remember when I was learning how to knit, it was, what's the big thing that everyone does when they're first learning? They make the mistake with tension, right? Because they don't quite understand how the fiber works. You know, the earlier you learn that, it becomes very natural, I think. Yeah, and I just wanted to, Carrie's reminding me, thank you, Carrie. I just want to announce we'll probably do this for another, 10, 15 minutes here. We have to finish our drink. I realize 15 minutes might be too short, so this might be a 30-minute
run on.
Unless we have like a chug for the last 15 minutes, and then we're at that place right now, and I'm a lady, guys. So we're gonna make this maybe more closer to 30 minutes, but we are going to announce the contest winner. So again, In the comments, if you want to put, if you knit or crochet, we're giving away one of Daniella's clutch patterns. They're super cool. Like, they're very chic. I'm totally drawn to them. So if you knit or crochet, what you would pair. So you just have to put if you knit or crochet in the comments, and then what you would pair that clutch with. And we're going to choose a winner here. And then if you're watching this in syndication, not during the live show, we're also going to do another winner for that. In the next week, we'll announce that as well. So go ahead, just keep commenting and sharing it with your friends, and we'll choose those winners and announce them probably in the next show. So
yeah.
So yeah, Rebecca, I hope we answered your question. But you know, for me, I'll just tell you, I'm a crafty kid. Like, I grew up, my mom was awesome. She set up a little craft room for me in our basement. And it's funny, I go back home now and I think that it was such this huge place. And you go back home, you're like, oh, this is really small. It was a little small cavern. And that's really where I got like my confidence to like start to be creative. And it was at a really young age. So sooner the better. I mean, craft time all the time.
Yeah, same here. Craft time all the time. It loves it too.
So let's unpack this a little bit. So, you know, being a mom, being a business owner, being a wife, like those are some pretty big hats.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
So how do you take care of yourself? How, like, let's unpack this a little bit, because you got your makeup going on, you got your hair going on, and I get, like, I had to wake up before my kid woke up this morning.
Just for you, literally, I live in like my sweatpants or my leggings and my husband's t-shirts. So just for you. But I think it definitely, you have to find a balance. You know, my kids and my family come before my business always. Yeah. You know, I think last week me and Alba were emailing back and forth, and I know I had to answer some questions, but my daughter was sick and she needed to be taken into the ER because her fever went down. You know, so you got to prioritize. And then there's also that I haven't seen my kid all day, but I really need to finish this deadline, and you feel that mom guilt, you know, and I think a lot of moms feel that. They feel that mom guilt. You're like, oh, you know, I need to finish this, but, you know, I should also be spending time with my kid, you know.
I hear you. How do you deal with it? Like, because, you know, at the end, you're trying to grow a business and be all these things at once. And I understand the prioritization, but like, when is there ever a point in time where you turn that off and say, okay, I'm going to maybe work on the business more so that the end goal is that I have more time with my
kids? I think that writing down a lot of my goals, like my week goals, are today I got to get this, this, and this, and this done. So does that mean, like, do I need to leave laundry for another day because I need to finish this pattern? Then I do. Yeah. You know, my husband, he helps a lot. He's my number one supporter. He'll take the kids out just so I could work. You know, my littlest one, she's breastfed. So she's stuck to me like at the hip. You know, so she doesn't really go anywhere anytime soon, but I take advantage of nap time, or when she goes to sleep, I'll burn that midnight oil. If I have deadlines, I burn that midnight oil because I have to. And then I'm up, you know, at 7 a.m. to get my oldest ready for school, you know, so definitely a lot of sacrifices, but there's also a lot of rewards in it too. You know, There's those small victories when a pattern finally clicks and everything comes out perfect, you know. But yeah, you kind of take it day by day. I'm not really on a schedule. I knit when I can, you know, and I plan, and I kind of try to divide my days out, but it's not perfect, but we make it work.
So I want to understand this a little bit. So, because it sounds to me, because I think there's a similarity here, that you've said twice now that your husband is like your number one fan. And I can actually say that in my life as well. Hopefully I'm getting him. He's actually working in the room right behind me. So hopefully I'm getting some tears out of this one. But love you, babe. But I do think, you know, when I meet women that are killing it and balancing as much as you're balancing.
Yes.
Because I understand, it's like you have this to-do list and you're like, that's a really great idea, because I know that that's all going to go up in flames the next fire I have to put out.
Yeah.
And you live in the world of Post-its, even though you try hard not to. But, you know, if it's not getting too personal, how does it work? Like, how does that dance work with your husband so that, you know, how have you established getting that support from your husband? Because I bet you that, some of the people that are watching here, they might go like, oh, my husband works a crazy job, or I don't feel like I get the support from him. How do you sort of get everyone on, on Team Daniella to like push everything forward so that you do feel supported, so that you can creatively perform, and then you can still be like an A+ mom and wife?
Mm-hmm. I think my husband is a good pep talker. Okay. He's a very positive person. Sometimes I'm more of a negative. To me, like my whole world is falling through. My husband's like, you need to chill out, give yourself some grace. Like you're handling 10 jobs at the same time. A lot of times my husband, he does the cooking. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see those plates. He is an amazing cook. He helps out with that. If I need him to sit down and my daughter, if he needs to sit down and do homework with my daughter, he will do it just so I can finish that project, finish that deadline. We kind of have like an understanding, like an unspoken understanding,
Yeah.
He's when I'm stressed out, and he'll just try to move out of my way and kind of, put out the small fires around me just so I could focus on that one thing,
That's really cool.
So while he's also my number one supporter, I'm his number one supporter too, so when he needs help, I'm behind him too. I'll put things aside because he needs me there. And the same way goes for me. He'll put things aside when I need him there, and like, I mean, it's definitely a big job. Yes, there's days where I've just cried it out, where it's just like everything's falling apart. I'm having a horrible day. Nothing is getting done. And he's just like, it's all right. Give yourself some grace. Today didn't work out, but tomorrow, you will do better.
I love it. Give yourself grace, because you've said that a couple times, and that's such a nice.
I think us as women, we are big. Not even the world around us is our biggest criticizer. For me, I feel like I'm my biggest criticizer. Like I said, again, that mom guilt, you're like, oh, I could be spending time with my kid, but this needs to get done. And this is prioritizing today, and my daughter.
I see it all the time though. It's like, and I deal with it myself. My husband was just in here earlier today, and I was like, dude, like I feel like a failure. And I was watching someone, I'm doing an online course, really famous fashion designer, worth like, I think it was like $1.5 billion net worth, right? And she was like, yeah, just last week I was telling my friends how I feel like a failure. And I'm like,
yes. And you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I was you, handling everything at once. But I mean, you can only do so much,
Maybe we just need to drink more wine together in the middle of the day and have fish
and we give ourselves some grace. And
exactly.
We do the best we can. I know at the end of the day, my kids, they think I'm an awesome mom. I know if I feel like I haven't spent enough time with my kid, I'll be like, hey, park it over here. I'm going to knit. We're going to watch a movie, or the good thing about knitting is we can take it on the road, whether I'm heading here, to see a family, or here to the grocery store. You can always get those couple of rows in. Every single minute counts for me.
Yeah.
So I got to work everything in between, and around my kids and my husband and family life. Like I said, my husband, God bless his heart, he does the cooking, and I'm not complaining because he cooks a whole lot better than I do. But while he cooks, I'm sitting here trying to get those rows in with the baby on my nipple because she needs to be fed. That's how most of my day is.
No, my husband makes the best oatmeal in the morning, every single morning. And I'm like, you do that because that's keeping the wheels on the bus. I think it's like, it sounds to me like you've really, and women don't give themselves enough credit. You have become kind of like a CEO in your household. And it's, when I first got married, I was emailing someone, and they said something like, team, whatever their last name was, like, we're on team, whatever. And it just was like, it was a little point in time where I'm like, I'm so glad I read that sentence, because I took that idea, like Team Snow, my husband and I, like, we're a team. And so just because you have all of these societal, like, women should do this, men should do this, it's like, no, there's this crazy dance going on. And and for like anyone out there struggling with, my husband doesn't necessarily support this, because I've heard that argument a lot, like why I can't grow a business, or why I can't go do whatever. There's this idea that you have to have kind of this come to Jesus, where you take away the societal norms, and you say, okay, what are people's strengths here? And let's look at each other from a people perspective, right? And then play into people's strengths. just as you would in a business. I think women naturally do that, which to me, like, I'm not like being sexist, but I think women make phenomenal leaders because they understand that dance and playing into people's lives.
Yes.
And you watch people blossom as a result, and you watch people grow into places that you had no idea. I can tell you, like, I came from a rough background, right? In terms of, like, it's just family crap, right? We all have family crap, but then you go like, man, I'm going to be married 13 years this year. Like, okay, not bad. So you've broken patterns, and then you're trying to empower as well, empower the people around you, empower your family. And like, that to me sounds like exactly what you're doing as well, is that you're empowering your family and you're empowering yourself at the same time. You're creating this really amazing ecosystem.
Well, yeah, I think that has a lot to do. I think behind every successful person, you have a team. You might be the face, but this would not be a reality. This business would not be where it's at without my husband. Not a lot of people that support me. My aunt and uncle, like, they're very close to me. They're like my parents, and like, they're always pushing me and to strive and do my best. Like, I know that if I'm having a hard time with something, I can go into the room and say, I need you, and he will drop everything and be like, okay, how can I help? And it works both ways. Like, if he's having a rough day with something, we own a nail shop in Illinois. And I know that if I also handle that on top of this business, I'm also making phone calls and handling that,
You're incredible.
So it's a lot, and I would not be able to do it behind it if I didn't have a team's backing me up,
Yeah. It's all about that team. I love that.
It really is.
Okay, so if you want to put your handle out there in terms of Etsy and URLs, and we'll put them in our notes as well. But let's go through that. We'll wrap it up here. Nasi, I have to still finish my wine, so this is going to be.
Oh yeah, I have to finish this beer.
We'll do this off camera, I guess. Well, maybe we'll pour a smaller glass next time. I don't know. I actually have a pretty good buzz going on right now because I've definitely gotten through my lunch. So like, I have no food in my stomach right now. So.
And I think that's one sacrifice too. Like, I feel like we got to take care of ourselves a little bit more, because I know there's times where everybody else is fed and I'm like the last one to eat, or I'm like, I'm like running on coffee and just coffee. And my husband's like, hey, have you eaten today? And I'll be like, no. He goes, you need to slow down and you need to eat something. Or he'll be like, here, you haven't eaten. You got to eat. Like, I'll make sure everybody's fed and dressed and I'm running a tight ship, but you forget to take care of yourself, Yeah.
Exactly. I have, and maybe we'll leave with this, because this is one of my favorite pieces of advice, especially juggling everything and getting maybe like, man, I wish that person knew that they were supposed to help me eat my food. And and I know, like, I deal with that. Like, okay, I need to take my shower. I don't want anyone coming in my bathroom when I'm taking a shower. And often I hear, mama, or hey, Nicole, and just poking their head around. You're like, okay, that was my.
Well, I've given up. My shower does not have a door. Neither does my bathroom, because it's one of those walk-in ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, I get visitors. My daughter's like, I'm trying to take a shower, and my daughter's in there sitting, looking at me, telling me about her day. I can't even pee alone anymore. I've just kind of given up all sense of privacy.
I hear you, but in the other idea though, and in this concept of trying to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of our teams, is this idea of expectations versus agreements. And I work with a life coach. She's gonna laugh if she's watching this, because we talk about this all the time because of the mastery of it, right? But where you have expectations on people, like, I would just expect that they would know that I don't want to be disturbed while I'm peeing or taking a shower or whatever this is. You can have agreements, and I have found that that's actually been a big breakthrough in my environment. So like, hey, Mike, my husband, hey, Mike, do you think we can agree that you like don't interrupt me while I'm taking a shower? Because that sacred time that I need to just regenerate, maybe my 10 minutes, right? Because our regeneration skills are hardcore as moms. Can we agree to that? And there's something between having that expectation, because that can rock the boat if that expectation isn't met. And then you have that agreement, right? Where you're like, I can agree to that. I'm going to help support you in that. And as a result, I have actually found like a lot more harmony. Because if I find myself getting pissed off about something, I have to go like, hey, Nicole, is this an expectation that was missed, or is this an agreement that was actually broken?
Yeah.
And that little difference is like really pretty.
Well, yeah, and it's so funny you say that, because I am not a morning person,
Mm-hmm.
but I do it because my kid needs to be in school. You know, I got to help my husband get out of the house. So while I wake up really early, and I get my kid ready to school. I get her to the bus stop. I come home and then I get my husband ready for work. And if the baby is either sleeping in, because thank goodness I was blessed with good sleepers, she'll either be sleeping in or up, and she'll eat and then she'll go back to sleep. And I have that moment to myself where I'm alone and I have that cup of coffee, and I need that, you know. And I think the best advice I ever got was, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, I love that.
So you can't be expected to take care of everybody if you're running on zero.
I
You
love
know,
it. I love it.
I'll take that. I take that time for myself. I have coffee, you know, and sometimes that's all I ever have. And then I have good people like my husband, Jay, he'll be like, hey, you got to eat. You got to take care of yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
good.
I love that. Maybe we'll end every single segment now. You gave me the idea. Every single segment, what's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Yes, that's a really
that's great. Do we want to announce a winner right now? Or are we going to post it?
Yeah, we'll announce a winner. We are going to randomly select Victoria Fox.
Victoria Fox. All right.
Victoria Fox, you're the winner.
Woo! Cool ass name. Lots of cool names around here.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to end this here. Everyone who's joined in, we have a couple of live people on Instagram. We have some people here on Facebook. Really appreciate you supporting this effort. We're going to try to do this every single week. Meet our designers. Daniella, we'll probably have you back on because you are, I could tell, you and I, we're cut from the same cloth. I love it.
Yes.
This is tremendous. We're going to end this session here. We'll still be online with each other here, so we'll debrief. And everyone, I really seriously appreciate you joining in on this. I think that as you know, we unpack more and we get more people on the show, it's really all about empowering each other. And we're open to your questions. And like, this is all to push us all forward as women, as entrepreneurs. Even if you don't have your own business, I mean, like, supporting a family just on its own is like pretty hardcore. Or if you're just even single and trying to figure it out and figure out what your next step is, there's a lot of wisdom that comes out of this. And, you know, just like even knitting groups, that's, you know, yeah, you might miss something, but it's really the advice and the sage advice from these women that are around you. We're trying to create a community here. So I encourage you to keep joining. I'll become a better interviewer as we progress through this too, so you'll watch that. But Danielle, thank you so much for being our first ever guest. I hope we look back at this in a year and be like, that was a really great first show. We're going to have more great stuff later. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. I will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.